week was the start of the night. On the next episode of
Give it up, it's Vinyl Stallions.
And this is Club
Vinyl Roulette 1.5. We told you it was coming back. It's not Vinyl Roulette 2 because it was a little impromptu, but it's Vinyl Roulette 1.5.
And it is perfectly split in half because the first time we did this, we did 6 albums. This time we only did 3. So again, perfect 1.5. Probably better than the Lion King 1.5. So stay tuned right now because we're about to dive in.
Lion King 1.5. You've set the bar pretty low, if I must say so. For those...
I'm saying we're setting the bar real high right now.
Oh, yeah, because this one was crazy. For those who didn't listen to Vinyl Roulette 1, the rules of Vinyl Roulette are quite simple. So Spruce and I will combine our vinyl collections into one big vinyl collection. We write the name of each record on a little piece of paper and throw it into a hat. And then each person will pull an album from the hat and you listen to that album. Pretty simple. But before you start pulling the names, you get to do a little something that we like to call odds boost. And what that entails is you write 10 albums on 10 extra sheets, extra slips of paper, and it could be whatever you want. You could write the same album 10 times, or you could write 10 different albums. So you are increasing the odds of those albums being drawn. And then into the hat they go. You draw them and you listen to them.
And that is just a huge aspect of it. We pulled 2 of the odds from our buddy Michael last time. So we were throwing them in. I really wanted to hear some Pearl Jam this time. I'm trying to think what else I added in there. But Pearl Jam, I think I threw in a couple times. Oh, and Van. You got a nice Van album recently. And I was like, give me that, man.
Yeah. And it was St. Dominic's Preview, which might be my favorite one, honestly. But yeah, I know I was jonesing for some Fish. I put, I think, 3 Fish albums in there. I didn't write any multiple times. I did throw in Animals by Pink Floyd.
Nice. So we were with our boy, shout out to Al Casino. He was jumping on the ride with us. And, you know, because he was a guest, we let him pick first. And it was quite a surprise.
So what he drew was right here. Kind of hard to see, but the album is called Where Have I Known You Before by Return to Forever. So for those who don't know, Return to Forever is, I guess you could call them a super group in jazz. They're basically the pioneers of fusion jazz. But you have legendary pianist Chick Corea on keys. You got Lenny White on drums, Al Di Meola on guitar, and Stanley Clarke on bass. So just a ridiculous assembly of talent. And this is, let me fact check myself, but I want to say this is their 4th album.
I know it was 1974 when I was looking at it while listening. I will say this was my favorite of the 3. This was mind-numbingly good from every aspect of every musician that you just named. But the man, like I said at the beginning, I was howling about him. A Cheek blew my mind.
Yeah. And so another thing that is interesting too is, so on the front cover of the vinyl here, we got a better view now. It says, Where Have I Known You Before? Return to Forever, featuring Chick Corea. And it's like, it's weird because he was part of the band at this time. It's not like he was like a featured guest or anything. Like, he founded Return to Forever. There was no point where he wasn't in the band. So it's just interesting that they like put it that way on the album.
It was.
And
I remember I'd ask questions and be like, "Wait, so what's happening here?"
I
Um,
know, and I was having trouble explaining it, but I have no idea why they did it. And I don't think that's the only album where they do that.
Interesting. Well, hey, maybe I mean I looked at the back. He did write majority of the songs, so maybe it was just an ode to Cheek. But that is not the weirdest thing that happened with this album. Club, give the people a little background where you obtained this.
So, and this is just a tip for anyone who's out there hunting for vinyls. One of the best place to find vinyls is not the record store. It is antique stores and antique malls. Because if you want records, where would you think to go? The record store. So a lot of times the used record section is pretty picked over. There's not a lot of hidden gems because unless it's, just arrived, somebody's already grabbed it. But antique stores and antique malls are different because people aren't just there looking for vinyls, they're there looking for anything. And so the selection isn't nearly as picked over. So and the prices are way better too.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget the exact name. I texted it earlier to Spruce. Let me look it up right now. But this antique mall is in Rockbridge, Ohio, which is near Logan, Ohio. It's southeast Ohio, out in the mountains.
Over by the
Um,
OU Bobcats. Shout out to the Bobcats, my alma mater.
yeah, exactly. Right by Lake Logan. Okay. It is called Spring Street Antique Mall, Rockbridge, Ohio. Before I even got in the door, there was just like 4 crates of vinyls right outside the door, $3 everything on there. And so I'm just like, hey, I was with my fiance Gabrielle, and before we walk in, I'm just like, hey, let me just pick through these really quick. And Return to Forever is one of my favorite bands. Like, I don't know, probably not top 10. I don't know if they're top 20, but probably top 30 or top 40, which considering how much music we listen to, that's pretty high up there. But yeah, found this bad boy, $3. It's in good condition. Still, oh,
Yeah, that's what
so
I was
this
trying to get
this
at.
was
That's what I was trying to get at.
so I was about to say still had the original vinyl jacket, but it doesn't. So when you pull it out, is not the Return to Forever artwork
Or
or
cast.
yeah, it's a Ratchet album. I still don't even know what album it goes to, but the disc was fine. We got the music that we wanted. So we were all good there, but it was interesting. We were looking at Ratchet while listening to this album
I
instead
was
of Cheek and the Boys.
instead of Cheek and the Boys, and I literally didn't know like what the cast looked like. So I was like, wait, what? And I remember comparing the backside of it and like the Ratchet Boys, and I just thought it was freaking hilarious. Like, what a way to start. I'm sure that like you have a great vinyl collection that is in well conditioned and well placed, and that has to be one of the few that has something like that, if not the only one.
And the other, I'm disappointed in myself too. It wouldn't have changed anything because for $3, I was still gonna buy it no matter what. Especially because Return to Forever, like their albums are hard to find, probably not getting repressed anytime soon. So if you find it, just get it. You know,
And the
so it
Ratchet
wouldn't
Boys
have
will come
changed
along.
anything. Yeah, but usually I'm pretty good about like pulling the disc out of the actual you know, jacket
I
and
mean, you're
then
just spit it
making
out,
sure,
man. Spit it out. Your pull-out game's hard. You just said
yeah. But I didn't
it.
on this one.
Not on
And
that
so we
one.
got Ratchet instead.
Oh, but like I said, I freaking love that. Open my mind to fusion jazz. Yeah, shout out to those boys. What a way to start. And I remember, um, yeah, I don't know. I just remember just being taken all over the place with that. Mind being blown by the guitarist as well. Uh,
Yeah, Al Di Meola. And so
yeah, that's
both him and Al and Stanley Clark have very prominent solo careers outside of Return to Forever. And I mean, Chick Corea, like he was pretty famous before Return to Forever. Like he played, for those who don't know, like he was Miles Davis's main pianist. So like we're talking about like he was playing with arguably the greatest jazz musician of all time, and then basically pioneered a new genre. So he is one of the all-time greats in jazz. Let's
He
be very
is, and
clear.
I had to look it up after. I was like, "Is this guy live? Can I or alive? Can I still see
He
him
died
live?"
last
I
year.
know. I looked it up. I was like, "No, cheek."
And okay, so get this. This is an interesting piece of trivia. On so this album is all instrumental, not a lick of singing. That's not how all of their albums are. If you go listen to the Santana album Welcome, the female singer on that album is who Return to Forever uses.
Wow, that is a random fact, Club. You're just dropping knowledge on these Stampede artists out there. Well, again, El Casino, shout out to you for picking that first one. We were at Club's house, so as the second guest in line, producer like Goose stepped right up to the plate. I was closing my eyes. Ooh, I was feeling around, and I pulled Incubus. Science.
Science. She blinded me with science. And this is probably my favorite Incubus album. If not, then Fungus Among Us is. But I think it's probably Science. So I was super pumped.
You
For those watching on video, here it is.
can you
And
tell
this is a
me like one question, but go back to the front of that. Like that is that guy on every single one of their covers? Like on their first album, the one with the Be a Hot Dancer. Is he on that one too?
I don't think so. I think that one is just like a giant mushroom.
Is it? Well, then which one am I thinking of? The Red album.
Oh,
That
you're thinking of so on Spotify, their first album is not on Spotify at all, but a lot of the songs from there are. Yes. So Enjoy Incubus was an EP that they released, I think, before their first album, either just before or just after their first album. Their first album was not commercially popular. It was self-produced. It has amazing songs on it. So now that I'm thinking about it, I think Enjoy Incubus was released right after Fungus Among Us when they signed with a major record label, and they picked a handful of songs from Fungus Among Us, and there were a few that they cut from Fungus Among Us. It's all the same sessions, and they put on Enjoy Incubus. So
okay.
like you
That
will
makes
be a
sense.
hot dancer when you listen to it on Spotify. You're listening to it from Enjoy Incubus. But yeah, I think it's the same guy, but no, he's not on all their albums.
Okay. I just saw that stash and had to ask. But dude, yeah, this one
Yeah.
was one. I mean, I didn't know there was that one song. I can't even think of the one about summer on the third
Summer Romance.
summer romance, and like
Anti
gravity.
gravity.
Yeah, dude, that is the
There,
one.
there's no Incubus song like that whatsoever.
Dude, that's crazy. A lot in this. So the noises that they make were like the scratching, the work. That's
Yeah, so
very evident
they
on this.
they have a guy in the band that like that's the what he does. Like turntables is his instrument. Like if you listen to any Incubus album, you will hear that. And he's with them, like he tours with them live and everything. Um, yeah, like it adds an interesting element. There's not a ton of bands that do that. Like the only other two I can think of off the top of my head would be like Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit. I know they have a turntables guy.
It's very
Yeah,
unique.
and
I mean,
I
I guess I didn't know. I thought it was just in. They just like threw it in there. Sometimes it sounds like a guitar, like kind of like Tom Morello does, where he like moves it back and forth. but
All right. So I
yeah.
got a homework assignment for you.
Okay.
So once we're done recording with this, listen to the song Wish You Were Here. It's a very popular song of theirs, like probably their second or third most popular. Um, but after the first chorus, you will hear that dude just going bonkers on the turntables.
All right. I will make sure I do it, teach.
Yeah, double EP. So this was the only, we're not going to spoil too much, but this was the only double that we got on this set.
And again, perfectly
Um,
like split for the 1.5, like right at number two. We were playing Mario Party 3. I think we lost to the computer. That damn monkey decay.
yeah, that's right.
The creepy cavern.
Yeah. Oh man, there's just so many good songs on here.
Well, so
Two of my favorite things.
oh, I listened to that again, honestly, since we did it. But the last side 4, is one song.
Calgon.
Calgon.
So I looked this up too. Calgon is like the first 3 or 4 minutes. It's a hidden track called, I think, Seg One. But
Interesting.
the all the crazy shit that we heard, that was all the hidden track.
Dude, so like there was a point where I felt like 3/4 so down on that side. They were just like laughing. They're like, "Oh my god, like you're still here." Like, "Okay, well here we go." And they'll just like they just did that low bass line, I remember.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "What
Yep.
is happening?"
They were just taking you for a ride, like absolutely.
It was quite goofy, and what a way to end an album. And again, I've never listened to Incubus album like all the way through. You've honestly shown me majority of it. That's just been on the Stampede Shuffle. And
And
again,
there
Stampede Shuffle is the new branded fuckboy playlist. Same place you can find it everywhere. Stampede Shuffle for the people.
absolutely. And yeah, Incubus, they're just an interesting band because their style has evolved so much. So Science was their second album. And that album and Fungus Among Us are probably, like, I would consider them funk metal because they're heavy enough where you could throw them into metal. There's not really any screaming or anything, but they also have those heavy funk elements that you would hear from like 311 or Red Hot Chili Peppers or Rage Against the Machine. But then once they get into like their middle three albums, they sort of go more alternative rock. They're not nearly as heavy. And then even after that, they go sort of just into like, not, I don't want to say soft rock, but they get even more mellow, like focus a little bit more on like the lyrical side of their music. And it's just an interesting evolution. And it was a crazy twist from Return to Forever. You go from fusion jazz to funk metal, and you're like, woo.
And guess what? We're going right back up with the next one. So, as Klepp
And
said,
this
it,
was crazy.
yeah. So we thought we were just going back up. We thought we were just gonna uh, get our socks blown off. But I'm not gonna tell the story because I'm gonna have Klepp tell it because he was the one who chose this last album.
And there's a few twists in this. So I stick my hand in the hat and pull out Aqualung by Jethro Tull. And Jethro Tull, I mean, I've always heard of the band. I've always known the song Aqualung. I never really listened to too much of them until recently. Recently, I can't even remember what spurred me to do it, but I just decided to give their whole first album a listen. And it was absolutely mind blowingly good. And just for how good they are compared to their name recognition does not align. Like they are way better than their popularity level. And so I've been listening to them a ton recently. And most Jethro Tull fans say that Aqualung is their best album. So I draw this. I am stoked out of my mind. I'm like, Jethro Tull, let's go. And so we go upstairs and like in the room where all my vinyls are, Klep Studios. Um, and I can't find it. And I'm like, there's no way it's not here. Like 0% chance. Like I don't have anyone over at the house that I think there would be even a split chance that they would steal from me. And no other vinyls are missing. There's just two Jethro Tull albums that seem to be missing, Aqualung and Benefit. I just can't find them. And Spruce and Al Casino are just like, Klep, give it up. Like they're not there. Like don't know why they're not there, but they're not. Like let's just draw another one. And I refuse to give up. And I keep fidgeting around, and eventually I find it. What had happened was like two vinyls nearby must have like pushed them back, so you couldn't see the gatefold on the, you know, I don't know what you want to call it.
The spine.
Yeah. Yeah, you just couldn't see it. So I eventually find it. I pull it out, and here it is, Aqualung. But I go to open it, and what do I find? It's empty. There's no disc. And you know what's even more interesting?
Oh.
So I've accumulated my vinyls from several different places. I've bought a lot of them new. Most of them were inherited from my dad. I've bought a lot at the local record store that's down the street from me in Toledo here. Shout out to Allied Record Store. Amazing place to buy vinyls. Um, but this one happened to come from Spring Street Antique Mall in Rockbridge, Ohio, just like Where Have I Known You Before by Return to Forever. I got this one inside. I didn't get this one from the $3 bargain bin. But like I said, like I just, for whatever reason, I was just like, see, buy. I didn't like pull the disc out and inspect it like I typically do. And maybe it was just because I had Gabrielle with me and was just trying to move things along. But point being, there was no disc in here. An absolutely crushing blow.
A crushing blow, but also mind-numbingly crazy because you have over 150 vinyls. I almost want to put money down that that is the only one that doesn't have an actual disc in it, and you just so happen to pull it.
I would completely agree. Like I would put an easy $1,000 down that there's not another jacket there that is missing
That
the
was,
disc.
dude. It was so crazy. I couldn't believe it. That of course, not only is it from the same place, and you don't have that many discs from there. I just couldn't believe that two of the three were from there, and they all had just something different. One, I mean, it was just a slip from Ratchet Boys. This one literally didn't have a disc. So we had to, at the end of the day, go back downstairs and draw a new one. And Klep
Yeah.
pulled something out of right field.
And so this, I'm honestly glad we got it, but we got Loggins and Messina
Loggins.
by Loggins and Messina. And where might have you heard that name Loggins before?
You know you gotta cut loose a spruce moose. Kick off your Sunday shoes. Footloose.
I went to the danger zone.
Kenny Loggins. So yes, and we were like going back and forth because we didn't want to look it up on our phones or anything. We were just like, all right, is this Kenny Loggins? Like early logs? What is the name of the first song on that album?
It is Good Friend. And so
And yeah,
this is interesting too. So it's Loggins and Messina. So it's obviously not just Kenny Loggins. The other gentleman's name is Jim Messina. And it's like pretty cool. They both write like half the songs on the album, as you might expect, and they both sing on half of them.
I honestly, I don't think I've told you this clip because this was one where I really didn't look at. We were watching just dumb YouTube while just listening to it. So it was like up front. And when I just heard Messina, like the whole time, honestly, until like I came back, I thought that that was a girl the entire time. I thought it was like Loggins and Messina, and it was just like two lovers making a nice album. Little did I know, yes, Messina's a man. And I was also so I was talking about that first one because we were like, oh my god, is this Kenny Loggins? And then the first one, I don't really know, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it didn't sound like that country twang. It didn't have that twist. It didn't have
Yeah,
that going
I'm
on.
looking at it here. First song is sung by Jim Messina.
Well, there you go. Because I was like, nope, this isn't him. And then as we went on, the whole middle of the album, the second half, when we flipped it, was giving us that Kenny Loggins just twang.
Yeah, and there are two songs which are the two most popular songs off this album where they both sing, and that would be Your Mama Don't Dance and Angry Eyes. And those
Those
two
angry
songs,
eyes.
that is not just like, in my opinion, the best song off this album. That is just like one of the best songs, period. There's like a freaking, what, how long is that instrumental part? Like 5 to 6 minutes of just ridiculous bass, guitar, sax. There's fucking flute in it. Like it just
Mhm.
has everything. It is just some of the best music.
No, it was absolutely just rowdy. You were going freaking nuts for this. Give it up for Loggins.
Yeah. Oh
Loggins and
yeah.
cake, Loggins and cake.
That's right. That's when we were watching the cake videos.
Dude, there's nothing like watching some cake making videos. People go
Yeah.
hard on those mops.
Oh wow. So I'm looking at the personnel right now on the back of the album. And so it wasn't just flute that was part of that. There was recorder, like the little fucking thing you're playing hot cross buns on in
That's,
fourth grade.
so
They used
tempting
that
too.
instrument.
Wow. No, that was crazy. Again, such a random assortment of three albums. Fantastic for the 1.5. And I literally cannot wait to just do it again. And what's great is now we're just tearing up these albums, throwing away their slips. We'll never get them again. We've had our experience. And now we're just keeping it going. And you could say the list is getting shorter, but as time goes, we're just getting more. So it's honestly still great.
I I would argue the list is absolutely still growing because we are adding to our collection at a rate that is quicker than we're playing vinyl roulette.
And that's the beauty of this bitch. But yeah, absolutely fucking incredible time. People listen to albums how they're supposed to be listened to in a row. Get that silence, process, flip, begin side two.
And one other tidbit about the Logans of Messina album, which just made it crazier. So for those who haven't listened to Vinyl Roulette 1, um, before we were playing Vinyl Roulette for the first time, Spruce went to his local record store, just to grab a few things before we hopped in, and he picked out an album called All Things Being Equal by Sonic Boom, and it got drawn. And similar to how that played out, the day before we played Vinyl Roulette 1.5, I went to Allied Record Music, or Allied Rec Allied. We just call it Allied. Down the street from me in Toledo, and this was one of the albums I picked up. So for the second time in a row, an album picked up the day before playing was selected.
Dang, that is actually pretty crazy. But not as crazy as how just fucking much we love this shit. We did a 1.5, but this episode's going to be longer than our first one because we can dive into anything that has baseline.
Hey, but hey. And another thing, why do you think we called it Final Roulette 1.5? It's because we already had Final Roulette 2 on the calendar. So for those who enjoy the Vinyl Roulette episode,
something to talk about.
another one coming
Let's go. But until then,
The way you shaking and moving, it makes me weaker.
Before we do the next, where can the folks find us at?
Snapping, popping, ride that pony bass finger.
everything on Instagram, on TikTok.
Give them something to talk about, bass finger.
Yes. Those four spots. And Google Podcasts.
You can find us everywhere. We're gonna keep this shit. Put on the gas. Fucking shoes are rolling into the summer. Another episode of
Give them something to talk about, bass finger. The way you shaking and moving, it makes me weaker. Snapping, popping, ride that pony bass finger. Give them something to talk about, bass finger. Bass finger, 'cause nobody needs her. She's a crowd pleaser. Got that bass finger.